Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Yeah, just around the daily candle close, just a quick update. Not too much to say really about the Bitcoin chart, but there is something we have to be watching for. Something very clear that's just right in front of us. So I want to talk about that in this video. Overall, situation here hasn't changed. I just want to focus here on the smaller time frame because this is really where it's now getting interesting. You can see the market has more and more difficulties to push higher as we are consolidating below this target area for the fifth wave, which started on Thursday, the 18th of July. So we talked about the area here before, which is defined between 68,550 and 72,000. And these are all the different targets that are possible for a fifth wave. I think yesterday it touched just sort of the minimum requirement, okay? Let's say my minimum target here for a fifth wave, again, which started on Thursday, the 18th of July. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's possible that, however, this fifth wave extends, but I can tell you that the microstructures are pretty messy. I know everybody likes micro counts, but there's just no point. There's no point interpreting even more into this. This is already, what it needs to be. All I can share with you is that as long as we're holding above this trend line, which has been on there for the last few days or so, the trend is still up. Okay, so I would not confirm a top until we break at least below the trend line. But that's only the start. I mean, break of the trend line would be the beginning of the top confirmation process. We would also ideally want to see a 5-wave decline and a break of support. So for example, it would be a good start then to see a break below the last low, which is located here at 65,850, which would be further confirmation that a top has been struck. And what are we watching for? We're actually watching for a wave 2 correction. A wave 2, which would in most cases be a standard ABC structure. So we haven't made a new high today, but it would be something like that. A wave, B wave, C wave. The A wave itself can be a 5-wave move, which would be more clearly short-term bearish. If we get 5 waves in A, then we have some clarity that we expect another C wave down as well, right? So such a correction is always a 3-wave move. So A waves can be 5-wave movements, then a 3-wave corrective rally, and then a C wave down. So A, B, C. The A wave, however, can be a 5-wave move or a 3-wave move. Now, a 5-wave move is more clearly bearish because if we get 5 waves down, it can't be the end of a correction. So we would expect another leg down to get the 3 waves. But sometimes A waves are 3-wave movements, and then you don't really, at least it could, then there's always the potential that the initial 3-wave move down is the entire wave 2. Just want to explain that. But yeah, overall, we're looking for an ABC structure, but it's not clearly started yet, even though something is changing, a bit of weakness is coming in right now. So it's worth, as we are navigating the daily candle close, it is worth watching. It is worth watching for a possible break of the trend line. And that is what I meant, is right in front of us. We see bearish divergences. I explained that earlier today in the video. So on the 1-hour chart, for example, you see here how these divergences build since Friday, over the weekend, as the market tries to push higher, but divergences are building. You can also see that this looks a little bit like a wedge pattern, just a little bit like an ascending wedge. Yeah. Upper boundary line, lower boundary. It's not a great wedge pattern, so I'm not sure. But we see downside pressure. This move down, it looks more like a 3-wave move down. So it doesn't really, well, let's say it leaves the door open for higher as long as we're holding above the trend line anyway. And if we see further upside extensions, which require a break above yesterday's high at 68,550, then the next upside targets are 69,090, 69,350, 70,650, 72,000. I'm very much waiting now for a pullback myself. So I'm waiting to buy back lower. That's what I'm waiting for. So it could still extend a little higher. Wouldn't be a problem. I'd take some more profits from the positions I bought in the last couple of weeks and also in April in the lower support zone on our daily time frame support zone. Well, in that daily time frame support zone. So I've realized some profits. I always communicate that in the membership. I'm not a day trader, but basically a little bit of scaling out, scaling in the range. So I've sold 40% of that. So the idea is if we go a little higher, I might sell a little bit more. And if we go lower, especially sort of below 64K, I will buy a little bit back. So and that's sort of how I handle this at the moment. So I'm basically watching for a pullback. I'd also be okay with it going up further. Okay, so the key is not, does it go up? Does it go down? The key is, what's the next pivot? Where are the next resistances? We know them. Yeah, I've communicated them. And if it goes up, do you have a plan? Well, I have a plan. If it goes down, do you have a plan? Yep, well, I have a plan because I will buy more. I will buy more because current assumption is that the larger degree fourth wave bottomed actually here on the 5th of July. That is the fourth wave that started in March. And because that's the assumption, there is a good chance that, well, it's not just because it's the assumption, there's a good chance it holds a higher low, but because of the structure. So I assume it because of the structure, because the 5-wave move up. It's not a beautiful one. It would look better with a little bit more upside, but it doesn't need to happen. All I can say, as long as we're holding the trend line, there is no sign a top is in place other than the weakness we see here. Bear in mind, down here we saw bullish divergences. Up here we now see bearish divergences. So it kind of, it's the opposite, right? So it indicates we are close to a top, but the price always has to confirm it further. So yeah, it's looking interesting. Most coins would look best with one more high. Bitcoin, I'd be okay with it, to top here because it reached that 68,550 level and it clearly is struggling to push higher. Also bear in mind tomorrow ETH ETF, yeah, and by the rumor, sell the news and so on. So it might be that wave 2 pullback, which is what many people are waiting for. I know. Just note that below 56,460, the market will tell me that we likely haven't bottomed on the 5th of July. But until then, this is my assumption, and I will look for higher prices and a possible breakout. That's my update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.